This is a Pele Media podcast.
Welcome back to Jurassic Park Minute. Jurassic Park Minute is the fan podcast that chronicles and overanalyzes the classic 1993 film Jurassic Park minute by minute. I'm Kyle.
I'm Brady.
And of course, folks, you've been with us this week. You know that it is Crystal Beth week here at the show. We're so happy to have her here again. Crystal, thank you so much for joining us for episode 40 or minute 42.
Thank you for letting me back.
Oh, yes. We wouldn't have it any other way. If we could, we'd have you on every episode. But we know that we can't do that because you are busy with the launch of your own Movies by Minute podcast, which is going to be dropping on December 26th. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It's about The Fifth Element. So it's one of my favorite movies of all time. And we're calling it The Fifth Element because we're funny. And it's me and my boyfriend. And I can't wait. And we call John, my boyfriend, and myself, the feels and the reels, because he is all about the smarts and technology of it, and I'm all about how it makes me feel. So I'm like, this makes me happy, this makes me sad. And he's like, this was made with a 21298 food processor, and this and other things, pushes up his nerd glasses.
Well, that's a really great.
I can't think of a better format than to have that kind of like, science fiction and then comedy's perspective, because that's a sci-fi comedy. So that's the only way that show could be done. Is with that, and then of course from the two of you specifically.
I can't wait.
That's going to be awesome.
So that'll be dropping on December 26th. But besides that, you do have another podcast called the Unlimited Lives Radio podcast, and you and your boyfriend are actually also the host of that one as well, correct?
Yes, it's us. It's the two of us, and then we have three other hosts, and we talk about video games, and we give away prizes, and it's a lot of fun. A really, really good group of people listen. So we call them the Mew Crew in the cat chat. So it's really fun.
It's a great show. I listen to it on a weekly basis, and I really love what you guys do over there.
So nice.
So keep that up. That's a fantastic show. It has the Jurassic Park Minute seal of approval on it. So, but hey, you guys want to go ahead and get into minute number 42 of Jurassic Park?
Let's do it.
Yes.
Awesome.
In the previous minute, we saw the control room start the tour program. As the minute ended, both tour vehicles were approaching the Jurassic Park gates. At 42 minutes, the Jurassic Park gates open. As the second car passes through the gates, Ian Malcolm says, "What have they got in there, King Kong?" Both cars pass through the massive gates as they swing shut behind them. At 42 minutes and 15 seconds, we cut to a shot of John Hammond watching the tour groups on a monitor. Hammond is wearing a headset with a microphone. Hammond says, "The voice you are now hearing is Richard Kiley. We spared no expense." The announcer's voice says that if everyone looks to their right, they will see Dilophosaurus. At 42 minutes and 25 seconds, we see a sign with a picture of a skull on it with the words Dilophosaurus written on it. At 42 minutes and 30 seconds, Grant and Ellie get excited at the prospect of seeing a Dilophosaurus. The voiceover states that the Dilophosaurus was one of the earliest carnivores and was actually poisonous and could spit venom at its prey. The tour guests continue to look out of their car windows, but cannot find a Dilophosaurus anywhere. As the car exits the area, there are no dinosaurs to be seen. And thus ends minute 42 of Jurassic Park.
So in this minute, we have a no-show by one of the, I guess, three big main bad dinosaurs in the movie, as I like to refer to it. But the Dilophosaurus is teased and then no-shows in this minute. So is that just a little bit of scene dressing, or were you guys disappointed when the Dilophosaurus didn't show up?
I thought it was cool.
You know what? I'm not surprised. I've been on those Disney safaris, and you go to the zoo, and you're so excited to see the panther, and you can't see it because it's up in a tree sleeping. This is exactly what I would expect from an animal theme park.
Yeah.
There, but is it actually there? Who knows?
Yeah, it's funny because I think the tour you're referring to, there's the Kilimanjaro Safari Tour, which they do in Animal Kingdom, and the first animal that you see is the okapi, which they refer to as the ghost of the forest, which is on your right-hand side. It's the first thing you're supposed to see, and it is the most reclusive animal in the entire jungle trek. It's always hiding, and they're just kind of like, oh, look, is that over there in the bush? And it's just a bunch of shadows. So when I saw that in real life, the first thing my mind went to, like you're saying here, is the Dilophosaurus in the scene. It's just when real life is what you're, like in a zoo situation, what your whole experience depends upon. It's like, well, no, these animals are usually up for the first 3 or 4 hours of the day. They eat and then they sleep the rest of the day. So the Dilophosaurus is probably in the shade underneath a tree somewhere, like snoozing during this whole thing.
Yeah, he's living his life.
Exactly.
And they're going to run away from the sounds that they don't like, the sound of a car.
Right.
Yeah.
They're going to hide.
This just adds to the fact that, like, Hammond and the Jurassic Park team were so excited that they didn't plan on, like, okay, so the safari thing in Disney World you're talking about, they have that thing built so that the animals are in sight. And they'll have, like, a little hill or something that they can't really get around. And it's not done, it's, they still can or whatever, but it's a cool notion, and you'd think that they would have put something like that in this, but these people, they didn't stop to think about it, the proper way to develop a theme park. They just got so excited they went ahead and did it. But I don't know if I am remembering this from the book or if I'm making this up, but I want to say that I remember hearing somewhere that they had stripped the Dilophosaurus of its ability to spit at its prey. And then, of course, you find out later that, as they have done with so many other things with these dinosaurs, just screwed up. And sure enough, these things, they are still lethal.
I feel like I remember that as well in the book, but life, of course, found a way to make it vicious. But, there's actually no scientific evidence at all that Dilophosaurus spat any venom or had any frills or anything like that. They kind of took this interesting visual of a dinosaur with the, I don't know what you call those. It's on his beak or her nose. Those two, like, little things that make the weird sounds that the Dilophosaurus makes. I don't know what the term is for them, but and then they added all this other stuff. There's, of course, that lizard that actually runs along and has the frills that puff out, like in Australia.
Yeah.
I'm sure we've all seen the video of the little
Jesus lizard, right? The one that runs on the water too.
I think so. I think it might be the same one. Yeah.
I can't remember the first night I saw this, not being able to sleep because the scene where the thing frills up and, like, really, really, really got to me. And I remember my dad coming in and being like, listen, there's things you need to be afraid of in life, and that's like serial killers. But don't be afraid of these things that have been long since dead.
That's really reassuring.
There are things you should be afraid of, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, God, I can never leave the house.
It doesn't help. Yeah.
Son, let me tell you about global warming. It's going to kill all of us.
It's like they did with Deinonychus. And of course, just changed the name to Raptor, and the actual Velociraptor is a little bit smaller. Dilophosaurus is actually quite big. It was maybe about the size of the Velociraptors as we see here in the film.
Wow. It's too big.
Interesting.
And it actually, I think, had pretty strong or large forearms as well, too. So it looked like the Dilophosaurus was actually probably, of all the dinosaurs in here, the one that we probably would have been the most scared about, because it was actually the size that could track you down and hunt you. The Deinonychus or the Velociraptor were actually much smaller, and the Tyrannosaurus rex, as we've come to find out, in the disappointing evolution of dinosaurs, which we talked about in minute number 40, was probably more of a vulture than anything else. But I have a couple other notes for this scene. There's a scene earlier in the movie where they're going through the Jurassic Park gate doors. There's an over-the-head shot of Ian Malcolm, and there's a voiceover where he says, "What if they got near King Kong?" Which I guess is supposed to be funny, but Jeff Goldblum's mouth doesn't move at all. Usually these kind of like ADR scenes, the characters in the background, or they have the back to the camera or something like that, so you can't tell their mouth isn't moving. This one is like, he's definitely the primary focus of the camera as he's going through the gate, and his mouth doesn't move the whole time. So
he looked at his contract and he was like, I was supposed to have another line.
Yes,
like, oh crap. He's like, you're gonna have to pay me another $10,000 if you don't give me another line. So they're like, just put it here. Just shut up, Jeff.
Probably. So the thing about Richard Kiley, being their narrator, he was also the narrator of the tour in the book. And I just think it's so funny that David Attenborough would have been like the ideal host for this attraction, as he's the host of like all the National Geographic documentaries, and what have you, or the nature documentaries. And then of course he is Richard Attenborough's brother, so
it seems like a no-brainer, right? You just call him up. It's like, hey, Richard, can you get your brother to come in here on the weekend and do a little voiceover for us? But like, I remember Richard Kiley, his voice is fine. He does a great job.
Yeah.
Like, it's not exactly somebody everybody knows, or even when this came out, it wasn't like a big, like known name.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I was like, oh, good job. I'm glad you got him.
Yeah.
Cool.
We're all very impressed,
sounds-
Mr. Hammond.
There's no expense.
Just like pat him on
something
the
else
head.
too is-
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So we've been seeing throughout the movie so far the presence of electrified fences, and that's sort of being built up for that shot where the T-Rex's hand is on it and nothing's happening. And then of course Tim gets like blown up later, but this scene is definitely one where they're putting it in your face. Like, hey, there's fences here that are going to shock you and they're dangerous and you need to remember them for.
Yeah, and there's blinky lights. Like, look at us.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's a little bit of seeding of what we're going to get on later when we see that the electric fences have gone down and the T-Rex is able to snap through. So yeah, we have, Crystal, like you're saying, the blinky lights, the signs in your face the whole time. But in this scene, they also kind of stand to say that, don't worry, even though this thing spits at you, it's not going to get close enough to do it because the fences are here between you and them, setting up this false sense of security that the park has. It's kind of the premise of the whole thing is, they're trying to control nature with all these things, electric fences, genetic controls, and of course, none of that works. They get out, chaos rules. So,
yes, I like when you see the kids in the backseat fighting.
Yeah,
of course, someone's gonna freak out because they can't see as good.
Right. Yeah. No, that's all I have for this minute. That was actually the last note. Is that it says kids fighting equals funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is funny.
It is. Yeah.
Because it's true. I want to see more. They're like, there's nothing to see. The dinosaur's not even there. God, stay on your side of the car.
I think maybe they should have put Tim in a car seat for this whole scene. Little Joseph Mazzello buckled in. Yeah. So, all right. Well, great. Well, hey, we're going to get out of here. But before we do that and get on to the next minute, Crystal, can you let everybody know where they can find you on the internet?
Sure. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheCrystalBeth, and you can see me online talking at all the listener societies on Facebook. And if you want to listen to my podcast, it's on iTunes, Unlimited Lives Radio. And if you want to play video games with me, my work name is Ms. Sparkle Diamond. You can watch me on Twitch too, twitch.tv/Ms. Sparkle Diamond.
Awesome. Thank you again for so much for joining us. We always have a blast when you're on the show. So we hope to maybe have you on Goonies Minute in the future as well. That would be awesome.
Can't wait. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Love the Goonies.
It's such a fun movie, and revisiting now has just really reinforced that, because the Goonies has kind of come into fire over the last couple of years as being, I think there's one guy out there who referred to it as a dumpster fire of a movie, and just rewatching, it's like, no, it's actually quite brilliant in its in its comedy. But,
it's so imaginative, and we'll talk about it on Goonies Minute.
Awesome. Well, that'll be coming up pretty soon, folks. So, all right. Well, for Crystal and Brady and myself, we will see you next time, and until then, hold on to your butts.
Jurassic Park Minute is a fan-supported podcast. If you like the podcast, then leave us a review on iTunes. You can contact us at JurassicParkMinute@gmail.com and visit us online at JurassicParkMinute.com, Facebook.com/JurassicParkMinute, and Twitter.com/JurassicMinute.